in a seated position, hands behind you, one leg straight, the other knee at around 90 degrees, toes and knee up to the sky. Bring in the bent knee down from your ball and socket joint in your hip and back up while keeping the other leg still. Again, trying to isolate that ball and socket joint in your hip, a joint we use a lot when skiing. When coaches say, or instructors say, roll onto your edge from your ankle and knee, a lot of that movement and what they mean is coming from your ball and socket joint in your hip. And it's just like this movement here as we bring our knee over and down. A very similar movement to what we use to angulate the ski. If you want to challenge yourself, you can bring your chest a little closer to your knee, back a little bit straighter. Keeping the movement consistent. As low as you can go with that knee. One leg straight, the other knee at 90 degrees, toes and knees pointing up to the sky. Bringing that knee down, slow and controlled, and back up, while keeping the other leg straight and still. You can visualize that ball and socket joint working in your hip with this movement. Go as low as you feel comfortable. The more you practice this exercise, the lower you should be able to go. If this feels easy, you can bring your chest a little closer to your knees, back a little straighter. Check in with your breathing. It should be consistent on the inhale, consistent on the exhale. No holding your breath to give that muscle room to move and increase its range of movement. Hands and knees on the ground. Hand on the back of your head. Bringing your elbow to point up at the sky, back down to touch the mat. Repeating that movement. Knees should be at around 90 degrees with your hips placed over in line above your knees. Keep the movement fluid and controlled, maintaining a consistent inhale and consistent exhale. Twisting your back to point your elbow up at the ceiling, coming all the way down to touch your elbow on the mat and back up. Keep the movement fluid, controlled, and consistent. each time coming up, seeing if you can point your elbow higher up to the sky as you challenge your range of movement in your back. Keep that hand softly placed on your head, pushing off that hand that's planted on the floor. In a seated position, weight on your hands behind you, knees nice and wide at around 90 degrees, bringing down both knees to either side of your body, repeating on each side, while keeping the heels of your feet on the ground. Isolating the ball and socket joint in your hip to create this movement. Try to maintain a stable upper body with your chest facing forward. From a seated position, straightening your right leg, bringing your left leg up and over, pulling that left knee towards your chest, trying to maintain a straight back as you breathe into this stretch where we target our glutes. Imagine you have a line from the bottom of your spine coming out the top of your head, pulling yourself to a straight back. See if you can squeeze that knee towards your chest anymore. Switching sides, left leg out in front, bringing your right leg up and over. Try to straighten your back and then pull that knee towards your chest. Keeping your breathing consistent, allowing that muscle to relax and improve its flexibility. Stepping into a deep lunge, resting the top of your back foot on the floor, coming up, tilting your pelvis forward, feeling a stretch through your hip flexor here, And with your left hand and your left leg behind you, reach up and over so we can feel a stretch through our obliques into the hip flexors. Continue to check in with the stretch. Can you bend that front knee a little bit more, reach a little bit further over while maintaining consistent inhale and exhales. Remember to check in and square those hips, tilt your pelvis forward. Into a deep lunge. Right knee behind you, tilting your pelvis forward, bringing your right hand up and over to feel stretch from your obliques to your hip flexors. Try to drive that back knee into the ground to feel a good stretch. Very important to stretch your hip flexors after skiing. When you're skiing, the hip flexor is always closed. Your hips are always at a position where the hip flexor is shortened. And this is so important to help stretch that area that gets worked so much on the slopes. See if you can reach a little bit further over or bend this front knee a little bit more. On your hands and knees, place the tops of your feet along the mat, pushing away from your hands, coming down into a child's pose. Bring your knees towards the edge of the mat. Reaching your hands out in front and slowly walking your hands to your left side, pulling back against your right hand. So you can feel a stretch up along the side of your back through your obliques. You can place your left hand on top of that right hand to help you have some more traction to pull against that hand to feel your stretch a little bit deeper. Slowly begin walking your hands to your right side. This time planting your left hand on the ground, right hand on top, and pull back against that left hand for a stretch up your left side. On your hands and knees, bringing your knees out wide into a wide child's pose. allowing the arches of your feet to rest on the ground, bringing your hands in front and pushing your hips back towards your heels for a frog pose. If you can, come down to your forearms, again still pushing from your hands, pressing your hips back behind you, keeping a soft inhale and exhale. If you can go any wider with your knees, then do so. If not, hold where you are. Coming down to your hands and knees, bringing your chest down towards your hands, down towards the floor, coming up, pushing away from your hands to arch your back. Keep your eyes gazing forward to keep that spine aligned, puffing your chest out, depressing your shoulder blades backwards and down, feeling that stretch in your back here as we hold, keeping your breaths nice and steady. Try to keep your hips close to the ground. If you need to, you can come down onto your forearms if this is too much. With a slight bend in your knees, bring your chest down, hands on your thighs, keeping your back as straight as you can until you feel a pull and a stretch in your hamstrings. Holding here with a straight back. Crossing your arms, you can release, let your head hang low, pushing your elbows to the ground, feeling a pull and a stretch in your hamstrings. With your next exhale, see if you can go a little bit deeper and a little lower with your head. Linking your hands together behind your back, bringing your hands to your left side by your waist, and then tilt your head to your left, bringing your left ear down towards your left shoulder, trying to create as much space as you can between your right ear and right shoulder by pressing your right shoulder down, tilting that head to the left. You can tilt your chin up and down, find a position that best serves you, where you feel your body needs it most, and relax into this stretch. And slowly release and tilt your head to your right side, bringing your hands to your right side of your waist. Trying to create as much space between your left ear and your left shoulder as you can. You can tilt your chin up and down, find that position that's going to best serve you. Hey guys, thanks for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you enjoyed today's video, then head over to theskiclub.org where you can become a Ski Club member. This will give you access to our full video gallery along with a ton of member benefits.